This time on the last Spring 2021 episode of Past Deadline. We begin with this week's news in 60 seconds, then I'll be introducing the new summer editor for CM Life, Tess Ware. I'm your host, the other Ben Jodway, and this is Past Deadline, your behind-the-scenes look at Central Michigan life. Here's this week's news in 60 seconds. SJ passed their last three bills of the semester through the House and Senate on Monday. The bills include promoting WebEx as a default video conferencing platform, promoting the WebEx feature to change your username, and adding more defibrillators to campus. Mount Pleasant City Manager Nancy Ridley announced her retirement at the City Commission's meeting on Monday. She worked within the city for 24 years, she said. It is her 6-month notice, and she intends to support the commission in their search for a new city manager. Associate Vice President of Student Affairs Tony Voisin will be retiring. He was a part of the CMU campus community since 1980 when he was a student. He said he intended to retire last year but put it off due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Michigan Department of Civil Rights addressed the situation around a Mount Pleasant schools incident where a staff member cut the hair of a biracial student, Journey Hoffmeyer. The student's father said Journey was deeply traumatized by the incident, but received an outpour of support from across the nation. Read all these stories and more at cm-life.com. That was this week's news in 60 seconds. Next up, we talked to Tess Ware about her new position this summer and a little bit about herself. Hello and welcome back to Past Deadline. Here I am with Tess Ware, who's going to be the new summer editor over the summer, which is an amazing position, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know who you are, because I don't think you've been on Past Deadline before, actually. Have you?
I don't think so.
All right, well, can you just give me a little rundown about who you are and what led up to this position?
Yeah. So my name is Tess. I'm a journalism major, but I'm also a double major in women and gender studies. I was a transfer student at CMU. I came here in 2018 from Oakland Community College. Found journalism pretty quick. I was editor-in-chief of the Her Campus chapter. I was part of the chapter for 2 years, editor for 1 year. And that was really great. But at the end of last year with the pandemic, I kind of realized this has only taken me so far, and I feel like I'm not getting as much out of this anymore. So I decided to join CM Life. Started as just kind of a general reporter, moved on to university desk, reporting on class and education, college. And then I applied to editor and got the position last week, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this summer's going to be a really interesting summer.
Yeah.
Could you give me a rundown of some of the challenges and how you're going to face them?
I think one that has come up pretty recently that I'm sure everyone knows about is the shooting in Deerfield. Obviously we're going to be covering that more in depth, hopefully being able to check in on the 2 victims, talk to them, and then covering the trial and the arraignment and everything and seeing how that goes down. I think that'll be really interesting, but also I'm going to be paying attention to whether or not tuition is going to be raised. I think, that's obviously something students are going to be concerned about. Staff changes at CMU. There's been a lot of that going on. And also there's a ton of construction this summer. We are getting rid of Burrito Bowl in the UC and getting something called, it was Shake Stop, something like that. Shake Smart, which I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out.
I don't know what it is either. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
So other things of the summer is, one of the big events that happens that I think a lot of people look forward to reading about in CM Life is Special Olympics.
Yes.
And we don't know if that's even going to happen this year. But do you have any word on that, what might happen around it?
We're thinking it might be happening virtually, which I'm interested to see how that's going to work. I'm not sure if it happened last year or not. I'm going to go check that. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I know there are a lot of Special Olympics athletes who obviously are really excited to compete. I'd love to talk to them about maybe what it was like to compete in the past, how they feel about it now, if it is going to be virtual or if it's going to be canceled, and like what they got out of it. And then just, hopefully it is going to happen and we can cover the event. And I think that'll be really exciting.
Yeah, it actually didn't happen last year. I happen to know that it got canceled. Um, it must have been I think they were trying to do it virtually, and then they just canceled it like a month or two before.
Yeah.
Because I think that was in the summer where it was just about to we were afraid of a second wave and all that. So
I think Mount Pleasant got hit by COVID kind of late. And so
yeah,
I feel like the summer is when they really started seeing cases rise and they were just like, "Oh, yeah."
yeah, for sure. All right, so what else? Um, I did a great job of planning this. If you can't tell. Um, so I guess another thing is how many reporters are we gonna have this year?
So we're going to have one other reporter besides me who's on campus. And then we have a couple people who will be reporting remotely. I believe some of the sports desk reporters, they're going to be covering the shooting. Obviously, you're going to be covering honors remotely. And then, yeah, it's going to be me and Patrick in the office, really just getting to know each other.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awkward year.
Yeah, I'm good at making friends, though. I think I can win them over.
Yeah, let's hope so. Um, so then a lighthearted thing to ask is just so people get to know you better, what are your favorite things to do?
Yeah, I'm a knitter. So
Okay.
I knit sweaters. Um, so that's one of my favorite things. Summer is the worst time for knitters because obviously we can't wear any of our sweaters, but I still do it and my hands get really sweaty and it's amazing and I love it. But I've done that for probably like 6 years. I really like video games. I have a Switch. I play a lot of Animal Crossing, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, which I'm very angrily waiting for the sequel to finally come
I
out.
think we all are.
Yeah, I just downloaded a new game called Immortals Phoenix Rising that I'm really excited to play. That's going to be like my summer game that hopefully I beat. Yeah, I really love the Assassin's Creed games, but I don't have a PlayStation, so
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, man, I used to play that all the time.
Skyrim, I played Skyrim a lot. I need to get back into that game.
Oh, it's always Skyrim. Skyrim's like the gamer drug.
It's the intro game. It's the first
Yeah.
one you play.
It's the first one we play, and you'll never let go of it.
No,
Ever.
Dark Brotherhood, always a member.
Ah, Dark Brotherhood, of course. I don't even remember Thieves Guild stuff. All right, nerdy gamer stuff. That's for Raving Geeks. Over here we're at Past Deadline. It's serious news here.
Serious news. Back to
Yeah.
it.
All right. Okay. What else? So I guess we haven't been able to cover this on Past Deadline because we just want to get the information together on it. But I'm sure everyone knows by now the situation at CM Life that we are missing an advisor. So I guess to ask you, how are we going to get through that this summer?
It's going to be tricky. I think um, when I was applying for a job, one of my kind of, I don't know, selling points is the word, is I did run the Herd Campus chapter completely by myself.
Yeah.
So I have experience kind of making those decisions. But again, like I started at CM Life in October. So I am fairly new compared to a lot of the other people who are here. So definitely going to be, I have a lot of resources. Courtney Pedersen is a good friend and she always gives me a lot of advice. And she told me she's going to be really bored over the summer. So I'm more than welcome to reach out to her. We also have Sarah Leach, who is stepping in as an advisor, who has a lot of experience. She's incredibly smart and very, very willing to help. So I'm looking forward to working with her. I think she's going to be a really big asset. Absolutely, it's going to be really weird not having Dave around, and it's definitely going to be a different summer, and we hope he comes back soon. But until then, I think I will be equipped enough to make it through the summer without Dave. And it'll be a good learning experience to just be kind of like thrown into the waters and just got to learn how to swim.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And to any listeners who don't know, when we mentioned Dave, that is our student media advisor who's currently on leave, Dave Clark. And he is usually what happens in the summer is that it's an editor, maybe a reporter, and then Dave. So it's very weird to not have him this summer, which is why it's going to be incredibly interesting. Well, Tess, I think that's all I have. So is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Pretty much covered it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me, Tess, and coming on Past Deadline.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Past Deadline, a production of the CM Life Podcast Division. Every story referenced in this episode can be found at our website, cm-life.com. To keep up with us, follow us on social media at Central Michigan Life on Instagram, at CM Life on Twitter, or like and follow Central Michigan Life Facebook page. I've been your host, the other Ben Jodway, and this has been Past Deadline. Until next week, so long and stay informed.